Siobhan Key here from Weight Solutions for Physicians. Today, I am talking about how to lose weight on vacation. So, if you are tired of vacations undoing all the hard work you've done on your weight loss up to date, and maybe you even dread vacations, then watch this video. It's great that you're joining me and give me a yes, this is something I struggle with in the comments. Or if you're watching the replay, type it in the comments as well and let me know if this is something that matters to you. I know a lot of the physicians I work with, this is a big deal. It seems simple to follow how you want to eat, lose weight, eat healthy when you're in your normal schedule. So when you're following your day to day, everything gets very structured, right? And that works well for weight loss. But then what do you do when you go on vacation? It can sometimes feel like you have no choice but to kind of fall completely off track where you end up eating all the things that you don't normally eat. Maybe you even end up gaining weight. You come home feeling not the best physical, but also just fairly defeated, and then feeling like there's this big mountain to scale to get yourself back on track. And all of those can add up to being big challenges for weight loss because we want to take vacations. Vacations are important. You don't want to be stuck at home because you're afraid of what might happen if to your weight loss if you take a vacation. And you don't need to be. This is just yet another skill that you can learn. Now, I did a recent podcast episode, and when I'm finished the live, I'll post the link in the. I'll see if I can post it now. There we go. Uh, so I've posted the link in the comments, which let you so you could listen to the full podcast episode if you would like. It goes into some more detail. It also gives you some behind the scenes of, because I recorded it while I was on vacation, behind the scenes of how did I approach it? How do I go about my own vacations to give you a little bit of background. Okay, so let's talk first. What makes vacation a challenge? Why is losing weight on vacation hard? And the way I think about it is there's sort of three things. Number one, there's a sense of celebration. Often, especially as physicians, I think it's not that we do less work when we take vacation, it's we compress all the work before or after. So we head into vacation working hard, 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 trying to jam everything in, get all the paperwork cleared up, all the stuff that we do, fit in that call that you had to move because you wanted to have a vacation, and then suddenly we're off. And so there's this like big sense of like, "Oh, finally I'm off. I'm so tired. I need this time off." And it can give you this sense of celebration where your brain can go, "All right, let's take a break. Let's start, eating everything that we don't normally eat. Let's drink more than we normally do because it feels like it's a celebration." And it often comes on the tail of a period of time where you've worked really hard and you've maybe pushed yourself maybe a little too hard leading into the vacation. Does anybody else, type it in the comments if this is you, find that like about the first, 3 or 4 days of vacation, you can't actually relax. And then it takes about that long before you actually start to relax and enjoy the vacation. And I think that's born of that like jamming everything in leading up to the vacation that we tend to do. I had one in July. We went away, and partly it was the style of vacation we did, where we were traveling around to different cities. But it took me until about the Thursday of the vacation week where I'm like, okay, now I'm finally relaxing. It took a long time, and it was interesting just to notice that. Okay, so the sense of celebration that we get, that sense of relief, that sense of I need a reward for how hard I've worked, all of that kind of falls under the same category. That makes losing weight on vacation a challenge. The change in schedule, I already talked about this, but when you're losing weight, often you become very focused on routines, and those are helpful. Those are important. Having a schedule and having a way that you approach things and just doing it every day in a similar way builds habits, and that works really well for a lot of us. However, when you go on vacation, all of a sudden, all that routine is gone. You might be in a different place. You might just be at home, but not have the same schedule that you have to get up and go. You might not be grocery shopping at the same schedule. And so that creates challenges for weight loss because the healthy eating, if it's tied really tightly to that schedule, it then suddenly goes out the window. So again, just another skill that to figure out, okay, how do I eat healthy even when I don't have a schedule? It's all of these are sort of the way I think about vacation eating is it's like next level skills. So if you can manage and you've kind of figured out your eating at home when you've got the big schedule and you're just in your normal routine, that's great. The next level is figuring out how do you do it when you're not home? How do you do it when your schedule is different? How do you do it when you're in a totally different food environment? And then the third thing that gets in the way and makes vacation eating and losing weight on vacation a challenge is your thoughts about your previous vacations. How often have you headed into a vacation thinking, oh, I hope that I don't go off track. I hope I don't gain weight on this vacation. I hope I don't do what I always do and end up eating everything and gaining a bunch of weight. We have these thoughts about how vacation has gone previously that gets in our way. It, uh, they become predictive, they become self-fulfilling, and so then you're sitting there, if you're thinking, "Oh, I hope I don't end up eating everything I want or I don't usually eat and gaining a bunch of weight," that's gonna focus your brain on eating everything you don't normally eat and gaining weight, and that will be what happens. It's the way we approach vacations and the way we think about it when we're wanting to lose weight on a vacation tends to be very disempowering. It tends to be very, I hope, I'm going to try, I might. And those thoughts just don't actually work very well for you when you're wanting to lose weight. You need to view the vacation as um, a challenge, like in a good way, a challenge that you can rise to, that you can kind of take by the hand and make it be what you want it to be. You need to empower yourself in your ability to do that. And you absolutely have the ability to do that, even if you don't have evidence that you've done it before. So even if you look back at all your vacations and you're like, I'm horrible at eating on vacation, that might be a thought you have. You can still change that. You can still learn this skill. And that's why I wanted to do this Facebook Live, was to teach you the skills, teach you what you need to do. It's not that it's this mystery or insurmountable mountain. It's just that you need different skills and you need to practice them. Maybe you won't be perfect right away, but just practicing and learning them is really important. So, I wanted to talk about some mistakes that we make. When you're starting off, and I kind of started talking about this, but the first mistake is when you have a vacation coming up, the fearing the vacation eating is a mistake that we almost universally make. And like I talked about earlier, that relates back to what we're thinking about our previous episodes of vacation eating. If we have this big story that we're dragging forward with us about how we tend to always overeat on vacation, we always gain weight on vacation, then yeah, it's going to make us dread an upcoming vacation if we've been working hard on weight loss and managing our eating. But that's a mistake. You don't have to fear the vacation eating, but when you do, and we already talked about this a little bit, when you do fear the vacation eating, you fear the vacation as being this big thing, this big obstacle. It gets in your way. It makes it harder for you to actually take the actions that I'm going to lay out in this Facebook Live for you that will have you having success. So the big mistake is the fear, the thinking that the vacation is some sort of entity that you can't manage. I can tell you with 100% certainty, you can manage anything. You can definitely manage how to eat on vacation. It's just you need different skills. Like we talked about, this is like next level skills that we're talking about. You need to practice, you need to give yourself permission that you can learn this and practice this. That's really important. And the first step is not fearing the vacation, not fearing what your eating might do on vacation, but starting to take back that power and taking ownership and planning on what you will do with your eating on vacation and trusting yourself that you'll follow through is really important. The other mistake we make is black and white thinking, all or nothing. So I think often when we're heading into vacation, we think either the eating is going to be completely off the rails. I'm picturing like an all inclusive resort type eating, right? Where you're like, I'm just gonna like, there's no way I can control myself at all. I'm gonna end up eating all the different foods all the time and say no to nothing. So we think that's option A, or option B is I have to stick with this restrictive diet and be really careful and really perfect with my eating for the whole vacation, and it's gonna be hard, and I might not like it. Um, and we view these two options, and neither option might actually sound good to you. Like you might be afraid of the one option of the, eating at anything you want, and then you might be like really uninterested and dissatisfied about the second option of just sticking to this really restrictive little diet where everybody else gets to have fun and you don't get to have fun. And I can see, Teresa, you're saying that's me, and I think that was to the like the eat everything side of vacation. What I want to pose to you guys is it doesn't have to be that or that. You can find a middle ground. You, as the owner of your life and the owner of your body, can decide what you want the vacation to be. You can decide to design your eating plans in a way that you actually like, that you look forward to. And maybe it's going to look different from vacation to vacation, depending where you're going and what's going on. But again, it comes back to giving yourself permission that you're allowed to plan it in any way you want. And that might mean you plan foods on your vacation that you don't normally eat. Like if you're going, say, to the beach and you're like, you know what? I don't normally eat ice cream, but I'm going to eat ice cream 3 times this week. And that may actually be really successful for you because maybe without the plan, you would have eaten ice cream every single day. But planning it 3 times a week feels good. You feel satisfied with that. And it's better than what you might have otherwise done. And makes you feel on track. So giving yourself permission that it doesn't have to be like eat everything or eat nothing but salads. There's a gray zone, a middle ground that you can find and find a way of designing that you actually like. The second, uh, the third mistake we make is not planning. So as we head into the vacation, you might be kind of worried about the vacation, wondering what's going to happen to your eating, but not actually plan for it. And what I really encourage you to do is you need to plan. And it's the you need to plan how you're going to eat and how you want it to go. So notice how I phrase that is how you want it to go. It's not how it should go, which would be kind of that perfectionist thinking, but it's more how do you want it to go? How do you want it? That do you want the ice cream? Then how would that look in a way that you would be satisfied on kind of both sides, where you would be happy that you ate the ice cream, but also feel like you're still honoring your overall long-term goals a little bit? You get to decide. Maybe some vacations you do choose the approach of you eat everything. Maybe some vacations you decide how you want it to go is that you stick to the same way you eat at home and you don't eat any of the extras for that particular vacation. The big thing is owning that you get to decide. All right, let's talk about solutions, okay? We've kind of referenced some of these. Is that number one, you got to start with some thoughts that work for you. You have to think about the upcoming vacation in a way that you feel empowered, a way that feels good, that you're, excited about the opportunity you have to make plans on how this vacation is going to go, and believing, even if you don't have the evidence, believing that you can make a plan and follow through with it. Because if you make a plan and you actually believe you're not going to follow through on it, well, guess what? You're not going to follow through on it. It works as simple. It seems so simple, and yet it works that way. If you tell yourself, I'm making this plan, I'm designing it in a way I actually want, and so I'm going to follow through on it, then you'll probably follow through on it. And so, working with empowering thoughts, how can you think about this vacation that's coming up that makes you feel good about it, that makes you feel a bit empowered about it? That makes you look forward to it in its entirety, including how you're going to eat in it. Number two is then you get to design your plan in a way that you're actually going to be happy. So don't perfectionist when you think I'm going to plan how I'm going to eat on this vacation, perfectionist thinking is probably going to step in, and it's probably going to be like extra like careful and limited foods, and you're going to be like it's going to be fine. I'm just going to like all the salads. Like I said, you can totally do that, but you just need to have a good set of reasons behind it. If you're doing that because you just feel like you really have to, that that's the only way you can be successful, it might not work. It might not line up for you. So design it in a way that you want. If you're going somewhere that you don't normally go and you know there's a particular restaurant that you really want to eat at, plan on that. Give yourself permission to eat at that restaurant, and then you just get back to your normal. Now, here's the difference. When you plan you're going to eat something, if you're like, let's use my ice cream example. I'm going to eat ice cream 3 times the week that I'm away. Then when you eat the ice cream, all you're doing is you're following through with the plan. You're teaching your brain you can make a plan and follow through with it. The difference would be if you didn't make that plan, if you said, I'm just going to eat salads all week, and then the rest of the family's down on the beach eating ice cream, you're like, okay, fine, I'm going to have some ice cream. What that teaches you is that you give in to food cues, and it makes you feel disempowered. And it, even if you only ate ice cream 3 times in the second example, It would have a very different feeling for you than if you just planned them and said, I'm going to eat them and enjoy them. Often, when we end up eating and we didn't really plan it, we don't enjoy it anyways. We don't give ourselves permission to enjoy it. So, you may as well plan it in a way that you can enjoy. Give yourself permission to enjoy the foods that you're planning that might be outside of what you normally eat. And then you just get back to your normal. And if it's been planned, there's way less of the like thought baggage and the drama that your brain can create about what you ate. And so getting back to your normal the next day is simple. What makes it hard to get back to your normal when you end up eating food you didn't plan isn't the food that you ate. There's a little bit of impact on that, but really what gets in the way of getting back on your plan is the all the mind drama. Everything you make it mean about what you ate is what makes it hard to get back on track. And then solution number 3 is do some planning, do a little bit of research. So you've decided how you want the trip to go. Now what you need to do is just kind of do a little research about do a bit of planning. Okay, if I'm going to be eating this way on this trip, what do I need to support myself in this? Are there snacks I need to bring? Are there groceries I need to order in? Uh, are there restaurants that I need to kind of look at what their menus are and figure out which restaurants are going to work for me and which ones might not, so I know it all in advance. That might seem a little like eager beaver type planning. And I think at one point in my own weight loss journey, I would have been like, oh, like that takes away all the spontaneity. But honestly, that thinking kept me eating off track and gaining weight on vacations. You can be spontaneous. It's just you also set yourself up for success. So, for example, the vacation that we were just on, I decided to stick pretty low carb to the vacation, except for one meal where we went out for fish and chips at a place we don't normally have access to. And so, what that meant from a planning perspective is before we left, my husband and I were like, okay, what snacks do we want to pack? Because some of the small communities we're staying at might not be the easiest to get lower carb snacks. Along the way, one of the fun things I did was all the different, little individual meat markets we passed. I would stop in and get some of their jerky. So we tried, the jerky from a bunch of different little private meat markets. And that was fun. That was spontaneous. So you can find the spontaneity and the fun in other ways. It doesn't have to be with the traditional foods you might find yourself eating kind of off plan or overeating on. But it's that planning. And then what I would do is when we're in a new community and we're trying to find a meal or a restaurant to eat at, I had in my mind that most of the restaurant meals I would be eating just a good tasting salad, not a boring salad. That's really important to me, but a good tasting salad. So then what I would do is it would be like a little project as we're coming into a community or when we're deciding what to eat. I just go through some menus and go, okay, who has the best looking salads in this community? All right, this one looks like there's a lot of different lower carb options we could eat at this restaurant. Let's try this one. So again, it didn't feel unspontaneous. It didn't feel like it took the fun away. It just like directed me to the places where it was easier for me to be spontaneous. That might be a good way to think about the planning is it sets you up in an environment where you can be a little more spontaneous but still be sticking to your goals. All right, so to summarize, things you want to focus on when you're wanting to lose weight on vacation is you want to choose some empowering thoughts. What you think leading into the vacation really does matter here, guys. So thinking, how can I think about this vacation that's going to set me up for success in making these plans and following through on them? Uh, then design a vacation you'd actually be happy with. If your plans for your vacation have you feeling a little bit like wah wah, then I would probably change what you're planning on eating on that vacation so that you can find a way. Ask yourself, how could I make this where I actually feel satisfied with this? We're so embedded in diet culture, the default we almost always go to is like overly restrictive for situations like this, overly perfectionistic. So we're like, I'll just be perfect. It'll be great. I'll be perfect on this vacation. And then it doesn't work out that way and we beat ourselves up. I think it's far better to go, what would actually be enjoyable and fun that would also help me towards my goals? So if I am eating the healthy food that I normally eat, what's going to be really enjoyable, delicious forms of it that's going to work for me. And then solution number 3 was take a small amount of time to plan and do some research. Doesn't have to be a lot of time. You can make it a bit of a game, like make it kind of a challenge or a hunt, like what I was talking about. But just take some time to do some planning up front. Make decisions on how you want it to go. Plan to set yourself up for success. It doesn't have to be a huge project. It can be quick and easy, but give yourself that benefit. All right, any questions about losing weight on vacation? Type them uh, into the comments. If you're watching this on replay, go ahead and type your questions into comments. I will come back and answer them for you. I hope you enjoyed these tips about vacation eating. And remember, you can check out the full episode on my podcast, Weight Solutions for Physicians. It goes into some more detail, as well as it talks more about the behind the scenes on how I approach vacation eating. And the link is in the comments underneath this video. So check it out. It's available. The link is to Apple Podcasts, but it's available on any podcast platform you like to listen to. And that's Weight Solutions for Physicians. All right, we'll talk to you later, guys. Have a great night. Bye bye.